So, Carol, can you tell our audience who you are and what you do?
Well, my name is Carol Gissell, and I am the purchasing director at Quinault Beach Resort and Casino.
So, where is that located?
It's in Ocean Shores. It's a peninsula on the Pacific Ocean, right about the center of Washington.
And so, what kind of facilities do you have there? What's the scope of your business as far as the purchasing that you do?
Well, it's an Indian casino and resort, and I purchase everything that comes through the door, basically. For the hotel, all the linens, the furniture, the sundries, the soaps and stuff for the rooms. We have banquets. I purchase all that stuff, slot machines, game layout, playing cards, chips, dice, you name it.
Wow.
Everything that maintenance needs, I purchase. I just purchase about everything that comes to the door. We have a gift shop, and I do all the clothes and all the items and stuff, that sundries and cigarettes and everything that we sell, I purchase.
So how long have you been with this company?
I've been with Quinault Beach Resort. I've been there, it'll be 6 years in June.
Mm-hmm.
I started out in the cage, and then I went into soft count, and that's where you count all casino revenue. And I've been in purchasing for 4 years.
Mm-hmm. And what made you seek out additional training?
Because I wanted to get a promotion. I knew that the current purchasing director would probably soon be leaving, and I felt that the more education, the more qualified I was, the better my shot at becoming the director would be.
Now, is this something that you actually paid for then out of your own pocket, or did the company pay for it?
The casino paid for it.
Oh, that's great. Great. So there are other purchasing and supply training programs out there. How did it happen that you decided upon Next Level?
Well, I got on the internet and checked out several of them, and Next Level Purchasing, the SPSM certification, really interested me, and it was something that I didn't want to study something that wasn't all purchasing related. I had to get that purchasing in there, and yours seemed to be the course to do it.
Right. What finally made you say, okay, this is what I want to do, this is the place I want to do it, and plunk down your money?
Well, because it had things I was interested in, such as Excel for purchasing, which we use Excel extensively. Also, it had Microsoft Project, which I hadn't heard of before, and it was a software program, and, I thought that would be very useful. Just all the different things. The contract law, I am not really too much into that. I wasn't before I took this course, but now I deal with contracts with different food distributors and things like that, and I have a much better knowledge of it since I took the course.
Let me make sure I understand the timeline. You found out the purchasing position was going to be open, and then you decided to take the course, or you were taking the course and then found out it was going to open? I mean, how did that roll out?
Well, actually how it worked out is my boss has been talking about leaving for several years, and she has been basically grooming me to take her position. But she and I both knew that I needed more education in purchasing in order to follow in her footsteps and become the purchasing director. And so I went through and I found this program, and because it is a tribal casino, they don't normally like to spend the money on non-tribal members, but she wanted me to be as educated as possible.
Right. So what effect did having the certificate have on your getting the promotion ultimately?
I think it had a big effect. In tribal casinos and other tribal places, the tribe, they're the ones that always be promoted first if they're qualified. And with my 4 years in purchasing and with the certification, the SPSM, no one had those qualifications.
And it sounds like this was 11th hour deal because you were trained to get it in just before the actual decision was going to be made. As I understand it, Charles had to FedEx your certificate to you. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, what it was is I think I signed up for it because you have 2 years, and I had until May of this year to complete the course. And I had started working on the course after I first got the program, and I think I was probably like 3 classes into it. And then I started working a second job, so I didn't have a lot of time. And then I quit that job, and I found out that my boss was actually going to leave, and so I took a week's vacation, and I redid the whole course within 1 week and then took the test.
Wow.
I studied like 8 to 10 hours a day, did the whole course all over again, and took the test and passed it.
And they were able to get it to you right away?
Yes,
They kind of went above and beyond the call, I understand, to FedEx it out to you. That was not something that they always do. Did you feel when they did that kind of thing that they were really supportive of you?
Oh, I thought that Charles was wonderful. I talked to him quite a bit on the phone during the time I was taking the test because I was doing it online. My computer is a dial-up and, it's screwed up and stuff. And so that's how we started talking. Then after I passed it, I told him that I was going up for this promotion and I'd really like to have the certification so that I could put that in my portfolio. And he did everything he could to get it to me in time, and it worked.
Great. So you mentioned that you were able to get help from Charles when you were taking the course. A lot of people are concerned about working with an online course that it's kind of impersonal and maybe there won't be anybody to help me. But did you feel that Next Level was really able to support you as you were taking the course?
Oh, yes. When I was taking the course, like I said, my computer went off, and so I had to get back online. Then when I did get back online, it's 90 minutes for the course. Well, I was probably two-thirds of the way, and it started me at the first question again. So I called Charles. He helped me get back to where I had to be. If he hadn't done that, I never would have passed it.
Oh, that's
I had
great.
to start from the beginning again.
Of course, it makes sense. So, not to be too personal, but this obviously led to a promotion. You're now the big cheese, so to speak, as the purchasing director. Did that also make a difference in your pocketbook?
Yes, I more than doubled my wages.
Wow.
And I'm on salary, and yeah, it's made a big difference in my pocketbook.
So, is it safe to say the SPSM certificate led to that raise?
I would say that it certainly helped. That behind the 4 years that I had in there and the knowledge that I had, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have got it without the SPS. That pushed me over the edge.
Right. Now, a lot of people say the SPSM exam is very challenging. I mean, did you feel that passing it was a really good indicator that you really know your stuff and that you didn't just get a certificate, but that you really have gained knowledge that's useful in your career?
I gained a lot of knowledge from that. I used to be in real estate years ago. So the contract writing, a lot of that came back to me, was a little bit familiar because I was involved in that. But it is challenging, but if you study it, like I said, I did it in a week because some the stuff that I had studied a year earlier, you forget it if you don't use it. So I studied that thing for about 8 hours a day for a week, and I learned a lot of information. It was challenging, but you know what? It wasn't near as scary as I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And if you study the material and you utilize the material, you'll pass it.
Wow. So is there anything that you've come across where you're actually now working, as a purchasing director where you say, wow, this was great because I knew this because of the certificate and the training that you went through? I mean, anything that comes to mind where you actually put some of that learning into practice?
Yes, for one thing that I've used a lot that I learned through there was negotiations and getting bids on things. I was able to save the company over $2,000 on one item alone just by talking to different people and getting different bids and learning how to negotiate. So that helped a lot. Right now, I haven't been able to use a lot of it because I've just hired someone. And in order to work in the purchasing department in the casino, you have to have what's called a Class 3 license.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes anywhere from a month to 2 months to get it. So I haven't had time to do what I really want to do, which is get out there and do the reverse auction and a few other things like that, and set up a mission statement and set up a plan, use the bottom line statement that he talks about to show the CEO and the auditor controller just how much money that I can save the company.
So by getting this training and the promotion, have you found that it's had an effect on how your employer sees you as a member of the team? I mean, any difference in terms of how much respect they have for you? And
well, I've noticed that I've got a lot more respect from a lot of people. I mean, just the regular employees and also the other directors of different departments and, my boss and, as I said before, the CEO. They treat me better,
Mm-hmm. And what about how you feel about yourself having made this accomplishment?
Oh, I feel really proud of myself. And my husband's really proud of me, and I just can't believe that I did it, but I did it. Especially when I passed that test, because I worked so hard that week studying, I thought, I'm never going to pass this, right?
Right.
And what's so good about it is once you take the test, you know right away whether you passed it or not. And when I saw that I had passed it, I was just thrilled. It was like a big weight had been lifted off my shoulders, and I was so happy.
So if another purchasing professional were listening to this and they were trying to decide, should they do this themselves? Maybe they have to pay for it themselves. What would you say to another professional who is trying to decide whether they should do this program?
I would say that if they are really interested in purchasing and they enjoy that job, that they should definitely invest in this program because they will definitely get their return on their money. There's a lot of knowledge, a lot of different ways to explore purchasing through your program, and it's exciting learning all that stuff. And I think that it would really be an asset to them to have that information.